We go. Hello, everybody. I'm seeing people are signing on, and I'm a little early, like I should be, for the garden coach. And okay, I'm going to set up the question and answer page. It's over here. All right, and hi. I see someone says hi, Tanya. Thank you for saying hi. And there's my chat. So I've got my chat box up. This is good. I'm getting good at this. Okay, we'll get started in about 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes. So I've got the question and answer column set up, and I've got the chat box set up, and I got some really cool things to show everybody today. So this is going to be really fun. Welcome to the Chalet Garden Coach. I'm Jennifer Brennan. I'm the horticulture information specialist here at Chalet, and I've been here too many years to say out loud. No, it's 29, and I'm still having fun. Still having fun. That's what counts, isn't it? Okay, and let me see. Where are my counts here? Okay, we've got 7 participants. It's a lovely day, isn't it? We really it's not so blazing hot, except it's going to be like that over the weekend. Once again. Okay, we have 1 minute, so everyone can get organized. I'm going to mute my phone. So, oh, it just was telling me it was time to start garden coach. On that. Okay, here we go. And I'm muting my phone. We're all set. Thanks, Drew. Everything's a go. That was Drew checking in on me to make sure everything was good. Okay. Yeah, we're live. We're live. Thanks so much for checking on me. Okay, everybody, it is now, the clock's going to switch over to 1 pretty soon. Did you all get your notes? I'm Jennifer Brennan. I'm the Chalet Garden Coach. And number one, I want to thank everybody that has been so religious about signing on and watching the Garden Coach features. I have sad news for you, though. I was told yesterday that this is the last one of the season because we've got other fun things coming up for you. But I want to thank you. I want to thank you all for attending the Garden Coach and appreciating the notes that I put together so you can see everything that we've been seeing in the Plant Information Center. So I'm going to go over all of those things and then answer the questions afterwards. We finally got the format, working so well. And then I guess it's really going to be the end of the season. So tomorrow I'm doing the webinar for the learning, the virtual learning center, and it's really been fun putting all the details together. It's on transplanting and dividing plants in your garden. And I focus mostly on perennials, And this is the perfect time of year to do that. And there's different types of perennials, so I'm going to go over all those details. And that's that's at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. So, so get signed up for that today. You can do that online, and there's no fee for it. So sign up for that fun webinar. And then the week afterwards is going to be Bill Leuenberger, and I think I'm going to be helping him on fall lawn care. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that during this Garden Coach session. And I'm checking to see, we've got 11 people. So we'll go ahead. I'll go ahead and get started. It was very interesting. This Monday, I always watch Channel 7 Morning News as I'm getting ready to come to work. And Phil Schwartz is the Monday weather anchor. And it was amazing that when and I was stunned to hear this, he announced that from July 1st to August, I think that was the 15th, or that was the 17th, Chicago, we had only had 3 inches of rainfall when we should have had 6.5 in that time span. And in August, we'd only had 3/4 of an inch of rain that had been monitored at the official, rain monitoring station, and that's mainly out in Aurora. And so it was shocking how little rain we've had. So what that said to me is I need to keep emphasizing to everybody, make sure you're watering and watering and watering all of your landscape plants. And that's particularly true for things that have been recently planted. And you know that newly planted plants, woody plants in particular, and perennials, need to be treated like intensive care patients, which, unlike with woody plants, you need to water. It takes 6 to 8 weeks for those roots to grow from the root ball out to the surrounding soil. So the first 3 weeks, you need to water every day. And I love encouraging people to think in terms of dividing the root ball into quarters. And then you take your watering wand, and everyone should have a watering wand, so you don't have to bend over when you're watering. But you hold the watering wand right over about someone came into the information center today and asked, how far should I hold my watering wand? Do I put it right next to the soil? No. Don't bend over, just hold it, hold it. And it's usually about, 8 to 12 inches above the soil. And over the first quarter of the root ball, oh, excuse me, I always do this sneezing when I get all my samples out. Pardon me. Too much fungus. But hold the watering wand over the first quarter and count to yourself 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then do the second quarter, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, third quarter, fourth quarter, and then do that 3 times in a row. And you have watered the root ball sufficiently. And so for the first 3 weeks, as their intensive care patients, water every day. And then for the next 5 weeks, every other day. And that really gets the plant a very good start. And then all those roots will be growing out into the surrounding soil. And you can plant as late, safely, as late as the very end of September. And the plants still have 6 to 8 weeks to root into the surrounding soil before the ground freezes solidly. And in our area, it usually doesn't freeze solidly until the second week of December. So that's, you really want to make sure you get them watered in so that they don't frost heave out of the ground. Okay, so now August 15 through September 15 is the best time. Actually, it's September 25th, the best time to plant perennials, because the soil is so comparatively warm to what it would be in the next spring. And so when you get it in that warm soil, give it the right amount of water, oh my gosh, perennials get established usually in 4 to 5 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks. It doesn't take them nearly 8 weeks to get established. So this is an excellent time, to plant more perennials in your garden. All right. It's also the best time to transplant things. If you have plants that you want to move, maybe they're not in enough sunlight and you want to move them to a brighter area, this is the perfect time to transplant, as well. And also a great time to divide. If you need more plants, this is a great time to divide a mature clump into quarters and then include more in your own garden, or share with a good friend if you want to share one of your favorite plants. The best time of year to do that. Okay, now, things to watch out for. Oh, no, I want to talk about the lawns. I was lucky enough to get my fertilizer down right before we had that 0.6 of an inch of rain when all those tornadoes came through. You would not believe how, and I've been watering 3 times a week to kind of follow up on that. You would not believe how great my lawn looks. It's greening up, it's thickening up. I had a few spots where I had the brown patch and summer patch. I had a little bit of both in my lawn, and the healthy grasses are growing into the center of those brown patches. I'm going to overseed the lawn next weekend with a good grass seed. I have a real shady yard in the front and a real sunny yard in the back, so I use the extreme dense shade mix yard, and then I use the sunny mix in the backyard. So this is the perfect time of year to do that. And what you're doing is you're kind of giving an infusion of really healthy grass plants to plants that might have some disease prone grass plants in it. So this is the best time of year to to seed the lawn. And then you want to keep it consistently wet, consistently moist, and you want to water every day as the seeds are germinating and as the roots get established. And then you'll have a whole new lawn by the end of September. Okay, so now here's what we're watching out for in our lawns. Okay, lots and lots of slugs, lots and lots of slugs. I had 3 samples just this morning of people with slug damage, and they were confused because they hadn't seen any insects. So my assignment was to have them go out tonight or any of these evenings and with a flashlight and see how many slugs are on the plants. Usually I'm horrified when I see how many slugs are on mine. I just had a question pop up. Do you oversee the when you oversee the lawn, should you lightly spread topsoil? Or let me see what the other thing, I hope it's not peat moss. I hope it's not peat moss. Let me move this. Hold on. Here we go. It was compost. You know, this is before you oversee the lawn. You can do that. You can spread some topsoil and some compost, but here's the secret. Here's the secret. You want to make sure that if you're going to cover the seedlings or the seed, you don't want the thickness of the soil or the compost to be thicker than the seeds. And when you look at grass seeds, especially perennial rye seed, it's so small that it's better just to keep it consistently moist. In nature, when like wild grasses drop their seeds, do you think someone comes along and sprinkles soil on top of them? No way. So that's why seeds are pointed. They wedge their way down into the soil as well as they can, and then once they germinate, the roots grow into the soil and pulls the little grass plant down in the center. So Mother Nature's kind of taking care of all of that for us. That was a great question, though. Very good question. Okay, so now getting back to, I'm going to brag again about what we have a great product here called the Scott's Step 1 for seeding, and usually you use it in the spring when you're putting seed down, and it's used as a pre-emergent weed control, and it's wonderful because it prevents crabgrass, it prevents nutsedge and nimblewill from germinating. It prevents all the other weed seeds from germinating. It doesn't bother grass seed though, so that's why it's called Scott's Step 1 for seeding. It has mesotrione in it, and I have been pleasantly surprised to see what it did to the crabgrass that was in my sunny area of my lawn. It turned it all white. It looks snow white, and it was every one of the leaves. I think it's going to kill it. It's not advertised as that, but it's doing a great job, and it knocked all of the nutsedge out. It all turned white within 3 days, and it's gone. My lawn mowing crew was there yesterday, and they mowed, and I can't even see where the nutsedge was. It's so cool. It's so cool. So remember that great product, and I'm going to use it again myself next spring and April 15th as my pre-emergent fertilizer and pre-emergent weed control. And and all of the little amount of creeping bentgrass that was left in my lawn is turning white, and it's just going away. I love it. I love it. It's a great product. Okay, so now lots of slugs. I mentioned that. Keep using your Sluggo. Keep using your Sluggo. And I love this. This is that. It's a 1.25 pound jar, and this is good for 1,000 square feet. So you don't want to overdose. All you need is 1 teaspoon every 3 square feet, and the slugs are attracted to the particles. They eat it. It kills their appetite because the iron phosphate that's in it causes them to lose their appetite. They stop feeding, stops the damage immediately. I love that. And then and then they crawl away and die somewhere. I like doing this under my hostas. I also sprinkle a little bit of this in the 12 inches of grass around all of my planting beds, because what the slugs do is they finish feeding at night, and then they crawl into the grass and hide during the day. They get a lot of nice protection from the sun, and it's nice and moist in a soil level. So sprinkle it around where your grass plants are too, and you'll be amazed at how you reduce the numbers of slugs that are in your garden. Now, I always like to show you this. This is the label of the company Neudorf. Can you? Oh, it won't wiggle so much. That's Neudorf, with that sunflower, and that's the company that makes all these wonderful active ingredients. They don't sell their products here in the United States, but they sell all their actives to all the companies like Monterey. Monterey is a really good company that we sell, and then Bonide and Espoma, and then also the Bio Advanced, or the former Bayer company. So watch for that logo, because then you know you're using earth-friendly natural products. Okay, okay. How do you apply Sluggo? Great question. You just sprinkle it. It's almost like a Parmesan, the old-fashioned Parmesan cheese, you know, Kraft Parmesan cheese shakers. You peel this label off, and it has little holes, and you just shake it. You can hear it shaking. You shake it. You know, I lift the skirts of the hostas, and I just do a couple of shakes, and then I lift the skirts when I want to check to see if the particles are there. And easy, easy, easy. Now, if you have a large area, one of my favorite tools is, it's from the Scots people, and it's called the Whiz, and it's one of those hand spreaders. And instead of using the hand pump, you know, to twist and let it spray, it's battery operated. So you just flip the switch and it throws it out into the garden. It's so cool. And I didn't think I was such a gizmo person, but man, I got that from my dad. He loved gizmos, and so it's a cool gizmo, and it really does a good job. It holds as much as 5 pounds in the bin, and you hold the handle and push the button, and it sprays it in a 4-foot wide pattern out about 4 feet away from where you're standing. It really does a job. And I apply my garden sulfur with that, all my fertilizer, and my slug bait. When I treat my whole hosta bed, I use that wonderful battery operated, and you can change the batteries. It's so cool. Okay, and that's called the Whiz. I don't think we have that linked with the garden coach, but it is on our website. It is on our website, but we have it in the store. We have it in the store. So come in and say hello. Okay. All right. So now, lots and lots of animal damage still. Animals eating the flowers off. I had someone come in, rabbits are eating the flowers off the turtle head or the chelone. And so you want to use, when you have animals eating the flowers and eating the leaves, you want to use the sprays. The Repelzol spray is wonderful, and it's labeled for about 12 different insects, 12 different animals, and you want to spray it on. You want to spray it on, and then on, you know, like I like to spray late in the afternoon, and then it dries and it stays on the parts of the plant that are sprayed for 2 whole months. You can tell I have a whole bunch of fungal things right here. Sorry. Okay, the name of this tool battery that's battery operated. It's a hand spreader, and it's called the Whiz. It's the Whiz, W-I-Z-Z, hand spreader. And just come in and ask for the Whiz. Everyone knows what you're talking about. We used to make funny jokes about it, but it's called the Whiz from the Scots. It's a Scots hand spreader. Thanks for your question. Okay, so now let's keep going here. Oh, still seeing insect damage. This dried out pretty much. This is one of the nannyberry viburnums, or the dentatum viburnum, and this was damaged from the viburnum leaf beetle, and it was down lower on the plant. Her landscape crew had come in and pruned back a third. She wanted the plants a little shorter, and then she found all this down in the center of the plant. That's what the viburnum leaf beetle can do. I mean, and they almost strip the leaves off of the plant. So if you see anything like this, if you see any holes in your viburnum leaves, treat with the systemic, the 12-month systemic insecticide from either BioAdvanced or Bonide, and it stays in the plant for 12 months. And now is the perfect time of year to do the treatment, because the plants are translocating, their sap from the top to the roots, and they really move any of those chemicals around, and they store them in the ray cells of the heartwood. And then it's there for the plant to put into the leaves when the new leaves come out next year. So be sure and protect your viburnums from the viburnum leaf beetle. Okay, the other insects I was going to talk about are the Japanese beetles. We're still seeing some hanging around, but they should be finished with their life cycle pretty soon. So be on the lookout. Be watching out for any of the grubs that will show up in the lawn, because they should start hatching within the next week or 2. And the first sign, you'll see animals digging, looking for the grubs to get a good meal. So be on the lookout for that. If you've had problems with that, now is the time to do a repellent, and either use Repelzol or use that Rat Magic. Sprinkle that, and it lasts for 2 months. Wherever you sprinkle it, the granules are really good, and that will keep the animals from digging, and digging your lawn up. Okay, now, the fungal leaf spot diseases are just phenomenal. The one that has just taken over for the summer are the rusts, and I love these samples. This one just came in yesterday, and see the texture. Those are the teliospores, and that's the fruiting structure from the crabapple, and where it's going back, it's sending the spore back to the eastern red cedar, and that's what they call it, the cedar apple rust or cedar hawthorn rust. And on the upper surface, all you see there are these burgundy colored spots, and they show up from a mile away. Okay, here's another one, and then they just discovered it on pear too. And look at this. See the texture? Isn't that kind of cool? I mean, I'm kind of such a weird geek. I know I should have my Hornman glasses on, but isn't that interesting? And then there's the red spot, and you see that on the surface. And then this is what it looks like from the pear, and it's a little different color. It's more orangey yellow, and there's orange, more yellow. And then you can see where it's just trying to make the teliospores, and I'll get it as close as I can, maybe too close. But isn't that, that's, and then anthracnose, oh my God, anthracnose on everything. And these samples came in yesterday, and you can see when you put it in the microscope, you can almost see the sporulation with this camera. But, and then what really gives it away that it's the anthracnose is you can see how blocky the lesions are. They tend to run right up to the veins and to cellular walls. Now, this was the same plant, and a little younger leaf, and you can see how it was just getting started, and you can see the sporulation on the back. And then this is the same plant, different problem. These are eriophyid mites, and you can't see this with this. You put it in the microscope, and you can see all those patches are surrounded by a real tomentose opening for a little hole, and that's where the mites are living in there. So be on the lookout. This was interesting. Okay, she had two different oaks, and these are beautiful in the black oak family. And okay, see how this leaf is green, and that was the one that wasn't, and see how this has that yellow stippling? And when you look at it under the microscope, and you look on the underneath side, you can see there were all these casings for spider mites, and then lots of eggs for the spider mites. I did find 2 insects that were still alive, or the mites, and it's a bicolor oak mite. I had never seen this before, but because it was so hot and so humid this year, and the customer said they'd never seen this on this tree, and they'd had the tree for 20 years. They'd never seen this before, but this is one of those years where we had conditions that really favored with the heat and the high humidity favor these. Now on this, there wasn't that much going on, so it's one of those things where they were there and then they moved on. So there was really no treatment that was necessary. So as long as she focused on keeping the plant really well watered, it can improve. I kind of shifted back from fungal things to an insect. Sorry. Okay, now I'm going back into the fungal problem. This has shown up everywhere, and it's called southern blight, and it's Sclerotinia is the fungal name. And this is a hosta. Okay, this is a hosta, and you can see it was one of the fragrant hosta, the fragrant hostas, and it looks like someone has just cut all the leaves off, and they all just fall down. So it looks like the whole plant is collapsed. Now, this is not a severe case. The severe case is you look at the bottom end, and it's completely rotted and mushy, and you'll see this white mycelium growing all over the top of the soil. This one didn't have that, but you can see the lesions on here, and you put it in the microscope, you can see how it's all it's just all going in there, and you can see how it just rotted the stem off. And unfortunately, my favorite fungicide, it's in the rose and flower care, it's tebuconazole. It's labeled for southern blight right here. Look at this, southern blight. Don't you love that when it's on the label? I don't know if you can see that, southern blight. But this, you know, you would treat the hostas just like you would do a rose. And you measure 2 ounces of this in 1 quart of water and pour it right where the stems are going into the ground. That's going to drench the soil, kill as much of the fungus as possible, and then hopefully you've caught it before a lot of the plant. It can actually cause death on a plant. It can rot the whole crown out, pretty quickly. So keep your eyes open, for that. Watch out for southern blight. And it's not just on hostas. It can be on the heucheras or the coral bells, the colored coral bells, and anything that has a real herbaceous type stem. It will really go after it. Here's another one that, and this is one that's not as easy to control. This is black knot this is a purple leaf plum. So anything in the cherry family, plums, cherries, peaches, they get this. And this is a fungus that gets into a leaf, travels down the petiole, that's the little stem, and gets into the wood. And then this grows bigger and bigger and bigger each year. Really the only way, you can spray with the fungicide, but once you get the galls on the wood, the only way to take care of it is to prune it out. And this plant did the best thing. You want to prune it, if the gall starts here where my thumb ends, there's my thumb right here. Oh, there's my thumb right there. And then there's 6 inches to where my palm ends, and then another 2 right here. So that's 8 inches below where the gall ends. So here's where the gall ended right there. And you're going to cut 8 inches off and get rid of that. Now you can look at a plant sometimes and think, oh my gosh, you'd prune the whole plant away, if you had to take it all out. And usually that's the time to decide whether you want to keep the plant or not. Okay, I'm looking at the time. We're just coming up to 11:30. This is a great sample of boxwood, and this poor thing, it had see the curved leaves right there. Those are the curved leaves right there. That's indicating that it had boxwood psyllid, and that's the insect that overwinters under the bud scales, and then the adults lay the eggs on the new growth, and then as those eggs hatch, the larvae suck the juices, and that's what causes the leaves to cup up. There's also a lot of indication of see right here, this one right here, let me put my finger up here, right, that one, that shows that that's an exit hole of the viburnum leaf minor. So this kind of had everything, and then it had the yellowing tips. And the sample I brought and the sample the client brought didn't show, but down further when she went home to check it, they did have popped bark. So that indicated it had Volutella. So Volutella is, it's a hot, humid season disease that gets spread from Pachysandra to boxwood. So this is when you want to treat again with any of the fungicides. And I love that the tebuconazole, which is this. And you do a drench. If you have so many plants that it's really impossible to do a gallon drench on all of them, you can use the spray. And that's this one from Bio Advanced, and that's the insect disease and mite control. And that comes in a hose and sprayer, so you can just spray everything, and and spray once a month. I'm looking to see, can we get okay? What's the name? Okay, magnolias loaded with scales, just noted. Systemic tree and shrub fertilizer is good to apply now. The systemic tree and shrub is not a fertilizer. Well, the marketing people of the company says it's protect and feed because it has a 2-1-1 fertilizer in it. That's just like baby food. And what that does is that just increases the metabolism so the plant absorbs the insecticide faster. So it's not enough to fertilize, but on the magnolia scale, you really want to treat with that systemic now, and it's taken up and it stays in the plant for 1 full year. Now, speaking of scale, I have to share this poor pathetic plant. This one, it was eaten. The deer had eaten it. It's a burning bush. Okay, see the burning bush, but look at all the oyster scale on here. Look, and you look under the microscope. You can't really see its oyster scale, but you can see all the. So you can see it there. You can see its oyster scale. This poor thing was coated, and so you can see. Look what it did to the leaves. It just toasted them. So this one would benefit from having that, the 12-month insecticide in it. Okay, can we get a copy of this one? So much good and valuable information. A copy of this one. Yes, yes. These notes were emailed to you early this morning under a separate email. So check your email box, and you'll have these notes. You'll have these notes, and there's also a list of the products I'm talking about. Okay, now over here, I'm looking at another question over here. Last fall, I had grass, an entire backyard killed with Roundup. Okay, and you had the yard reseeded and a germinating blanket applied. It was professionally done. There are still many bare spots. Please advise what I should do now. Okay, that's a great question. And I kind of went a little heavier, or a little earlier on the questions. Oh, hold on, I popped my screen down. Okay, so so now what you want to do now on that newly regenerated lawn is overseed. Get a good quality grass seed. Chalet, I love ours because it's made by a company that provides grass seed for the golf courses here in northeastern Illinois and southeastern Wisconsin, and they base their mixes and blends. A mix is when you have different grasses like bluegrass, perennial ryegrass, and fescue. A blend is different varieties of one type, like a bluegrass. So they do mixes, and these mixes are redone every year based on the most disease-resistant variety of grasses and based on the diseases that they were seeing and the variety of diseases they were seeing the past 2 previous years. So it really gives you a great disease-resistant blend or mix to go on your lawn, and then water it regularly. Get your fertilizer down, and that's going to help your new grasses. And now is the perfect time to do it. Keep it well watered too, and it will really fill in nicely. By the end of the month, your lawn will be just completely perfect. Okay, and it says, I did not find the site to register for perennial dividing. Oh, Usha, I'm so sorry. Go back to the Chalet website, and you go to learning. It says learning. Learning. Yeah, I think it says, I should pull that up. It says learning, and then scroll down, and it has the times, and you just click on it and let you sign up. Okay, now here we go. I love these questions and answer things. This is so cool. Okay, so now I'm losing. Oh, here I lost track. Sorry about this. Okay. Oh, weeds. Now is the time to get rid of as many weeds. And I had this was so fun. I had a gentleman come in, and he had this great big shopping bag full, and he just dumped it. He goes, these are fresh weeds. I just pulled them all. And so I actually sorted them and put them all in bags. Aren't I weird? I'm just so weird. Okay. So then you've got plantain right here, and so when you have this many weeds, so there's plantain. So you've got the seed heads and that big broad leaf. That's plantain. I have a whole bag of plantain, and then this was a type of Veronica or Speedwell. You can see those leaves right there. Okay, and then this one. Oh, this one would get. Oh, this should be a good test. This one is. Do y'all know what this is? Okay, this one right here. All right, hold on. And this was just a little sprig of it, but this turns into a big bad thing. Creeping bentgrass, creeping bentgrass. Yeah, terrible. Okay, then we have another creeping thing right here. This is creeping Charlie. Okay, and you can see it has those scalloped shaped leaves. The long vine. Oh, that's creeping bentgrass too. Oh my God, how did I get that in there? Creeping bentgrass. You can see it browns out over the surface, and it has those rudimentary roots. So that's why it browns out so well. I can't believe I had this mixed up. Okay, and then this last one. Oh, this last one. Oh, okay. This one brownie points too. I should hold this up and have people answer on their screens, but I won't do that to you. Okay, this is violet. These are violets. These are the heart-shaped leaves, and then they have these little tubers. I don't want to hold this over my. See the bulblets? See the bulblets that are in there? So you want to use either the weed and feed. If you had this many weeds in your lawn, you want to use the weed and feed, the Bonide weed and feed, and spread it on a day when you're not predicting rain for 24 hours. Unfortunately, that's kind of what we're going forward. There might be a little bit of rain on Sunday, but not until then. So a good time to get your weed, your weed killers down. And then when you have that many, and you have those, the difficult common weeds are creeping Charlie and the violets. And so I like to encourage people to do the weed and feed 1 week, and then 1 to 2 weeks later, come back with the spot spray of the chickweed, clover, and oxalis spray, and spray them again. And that gives you that 2-punch attack. You hit it with the granular, and then you hit it with the spray, and then that gets rid of them. And the weeds die in 5 to 10 days. So and then with that wonderful fertilizer, the grass wakes up and fills in and covers the whole, the whole area. Okay, so now, okay, let's keep going. Here's what to do. All right, apple scam. Yeah, boxwood. You want to treat your boxwoods, 1 more time with your fungicide and a fertilizer. Okay, now what to do out in the garden? Deadhead. Keep deadheading all of your flowering perennials, because that will encourage them to keep blooming. It'll extend the bloom all the way through September and into October on many of our blooming perennials. Okay, and I talked about evaluate your perennials. Look at them. Any of them that have holes in the centers of the clumps, so it looks like a donut around, with a donut hole, that's usually a sign that they need to be divided. That means they're growing out, the center is dying out, and they're growing out to the edges. And that's when it's best to dig up the whole root ball, divide it into quarters, get rid of the dead center part, and then replant them in that spot, and then and plant the new clumps, the divided clumps, into other new areas of your garden, or give them to friends. Give them to friends. So this is the perfect time to do that evaluation. Okay, again, get rid of as many weeds as possible. In your garden beds, you may have to do some hand weeding to pull them out, and you just never want any of them to go to seed. If you let them go to seed, they say that you'll be pulling that same weed for 7 years going down the road, and it'll just keep coming back and coming back. So never let it go to seed. If you can't get to a weed patch to get it pulled, at least go in and cut all the flower heads off where that can prevent any of this, that can make any of the seeds. Get rid of those, and then go in and weed out the rest. But don't let them go to seed. Don't let them go to seed. Okay, so now, get that one more appetizer, the fertilizer. I can't tell I'm hungry for lunch. Get one more application of fertilizer. Oh, that's where it came from. Application of fertilizer on your roses, on your trees, on your shrubs. I love Hollytone because it has that 5% sulfur, and on anything that's flowering, like any of the hydrangeas, use the rose and flower from Dr. Earth, or if you can still get, or if you have the it's called the Bud and Bloom Booster from Dr. Earth. That's perfect to do. And one more application is excellent right now. Okay, yeah, protect all the plants that you're having problems with insects. So you might have to do one more application of the systemic insecticides is to protect them, because the insects are just absolutely rampant right now doing this, and so are the roses. Okay, spray your vegetable garden. Keep spraying it with again, fungus is outrageous. So, use the copper spray to prevent the powdery mildews and the downy mildews. Use that and spray that on the leaves, and to protect those vegetables. Also, do any pyrethrin-based insecticides to make sure you're getting rid of the insects that can do damage. Also, use your repellents, because all the chipmunks and all the squirrels are they're after your tomatoes as much as you are. So watch out. I mentioned I was doing a segment with Tracy Butler yesterday, and I mentioned with tomatoes, most people have their tomatoes in tomato cages or tomato towers. So it really helps to protect your tomatoes from the squirrels and the chipmunks by getting bird netting, and you just drape that over the tower, and then you use landscape pins to make sure that the net screening is touching the ground, and that deters the animals enough that you can usually get to the tomatoes before they get all of them. So protect, 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 protect. Okay, and all right, then I think I've covered all of my notes. I'm going to check to see. Okay. Oh, got some great questions over here on the chat. I did not find. Oh, there we go. I talked about Usha. I talked about how to find the perennial dividing and transplanting. Should I deadhead Liatris? You can deadhead Liatris, and what you do is you follow. You'll see that the flower spike. It moves from the bottom up to the top, and when you see there's just color at the very tip of the flower spike, you can come down and prune it, go down to a node, and it will encourage new shoots to come up, and you'll get more blooming, coming up. That's a great question. Okay, now I've got to move this to see the question and answers. Okay, so when I reseed my backyard, do I use Scott Step 1 fertilizer? I submitted the previous question. Okay, when you reseed your backyard, I would use the Scott Step 1 for seeding. It's called the Scott Step 1 for seeding, and it's got a great fertilizer, and it really does a good job. It works as a pre-emergent to keep any of the weed seeds from germinating, but it will not prevent your grass seed from germinating. So the Scott Step 1 for seeding, and it's in a light blue bag, light blue color. So that's how you find it. That's how you find it. And in the store, if you go to where the grass seed is, when you look underneath the shelves, the lower shelves that's where you'll find the Scott Step 1 for seeding. It's interesting. I was dealing with a lot of people during this week of plants that were showing damage from the wet conditions we had earlier in May. And especially people that lived in really heavy clay areas. So like Highland Park, Glencoe, Glenview, Northbrook, really heavy, Skokie, heavy clay. Remember, it's called the clay soil perfector, and they're granules that look like lava rock. They're very porous, and so they're about 3/8 of an inch in diameter, not more than a 1/2 inch in diameter. And you're going to dig that in the soil. If you have plants that are already planted, get a garden fork, and then on the north, make a spoke like going north, like a wheel of a spoke going south, east, west, and in between, so it looks like a wagon wheel. And you stick that garden fork in, rock it back and forth, pull it out, and you've got columns that are 1 inch at the top and going down to the point of where the spoke was, and of the spike of the garden fork. And you can fill those with all those granules. Fill that hole with all those granules. The soil closes up around it, and those granules never go away. So it's almost like a drafting column where the moisture can wick out and evaporate out, and then oxygen will go down into and help those roots. So those are things that you really need to consider to help your plants and help them right. Now, someone said, Tanya said that you didn't get the notes. What I'll do is I'll look at your email address, and I'll send you the notes after we get finished. Okay. So okay, now what I wanted to talk about, and if you signed on late, I want to thank you for being such regulars for the Garden Coach. And I'm sorry to tell you that this is the last one we're going to do for the season. They've decided to, they're doing other things and other fun events that they're going to be doing virtually, and other fun promotions. So I want to thank you all for being such regulars on the Garden Coach, and to encourage you that you can always find me at the Plant Information Center. That's the revamped nursery office. You can always email me at jenniferb@chaleznursery.com. My direct phone number is 847-256-0561, and you can dial extension 225, and then that gets to my voicemail. I rarely sit at my desk, but I always return my phone calls really religiously. So okay, let's look. It's 20 minutes till, and we just got a huge delivery. It's not huge. It's a very generous delivery from Peace Tree Farms, and it's all of the fall starts, vegetable starts. So we have everleaf basil, which is a neat, wonderful basil, beets, broccoli, cabbages, cauliflowers, chives, cilantro, dill fern, kale. There's 4 different kales, 3 different lettuces, no, 4 different lettuces, spearmint, red mustard, Greek oregano, parsley, and bergamot sage, and Swiss chard, and thyme. So come in and see those. You know, they're just in time to get a fall garden going. And you know, and then you know, this is the time to plant another batch of beans. Do bush beans, and you can get a really good batch of beans. And then peas. Do another batch of peas, and those are sweet peas or even sugar snap peas, because they're going to love the cooler temperatures that are going to be coming. You know, the cooler evenings. Okay, now, and here's, Marion, thank you. I really am going to miss your weekly presentation. You have done a wonderful job. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your weekly printouts. They are super, and it's super helpful. Thank you. I'm looking forward to tomorrow's presentation on transplanting and dividing in perennials. That's great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. So, let me see. Okay, I'm going to make sure. Oh, we're also going to have a sale this weekend on Japanese maples. And I think they're a third off. I better be sure I know what I'm talking about. I'm pretty sure they're a third off. And if you come in early, we'll honor it. We'll give you that sale price, so you don't have to come back in after you learned about it on the weekend and say, hey, I bought one on Thursday or Friday. So we're honoring that already, already. So I'm looking to see if I have any other gooey fun samples to show you. It's my microscope. I'm having fun getting back to the microscope and having people come to the microscope with me, because it's so much fun to do show and tell. And when you see all the insects crawling on the screen, it's really great. So so I think I'm going to say thank you. We had 19 people here today. I'm so appreciative of this. And you know, when you call Chalet, you always get you'll get to it's called the CCC, the Customer Call Center, and then they transfer your call to the people that can help you, the right person. You can also direct email, and it's hello@chaleznursery.com, and then that goes to the call center, the customer call center, and they direct your email to the correct person also. So okay, thank you so much. I got to thank you from Rhonda Holcomb. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's really great, and I see a lot of you. I see a lot of you at the information windows. Okay, here's another one from Pam. My very healthy taller coneflowers are all leaning quite a bit. Is this normal, or do they need to be staked? Unfortunately, with all the rain that we had early, a lot of the coneflowers have gotten a little floppy, so you might consider staking them. And and the cool thing is, once they started blooming, and they look so great now that they're blooming, and a lot of things were a little late because of the heat, the excess heat, and some of the hydrangeas just have not flowered at all because of the extreme heat. So so keep them well watered, and give them another shot of fertilizer. As we go into the cooler fall temperatures, you could see a really good show. And but yeah, you might. Great question about the taller coneflowers. You might need to stake them. And that usually goes against my rule if I have to stake things. But this year it might be necessary. The heat just caused a lot of things to bolt, and then the very wet May caused a lot of things to bolt, but they just were growing really quickly early on. So okay, it is 1/4 till. So I'm gonna go ahead, and I see a couple people have clicked off already. So thank you all. It's been my honor being your garden coach, and you know where to find me. I'm here at Chalet always. So thank you so much, and keep cool this weekend, and let's enjoy a beautiful fall, gardening season, because we're coming into it pretty quick. So, all right, love you all. Thank you so much.